Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Small Business Interview. Today, I have with me Azalina herself, chef and owner of Azalinas, and it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I am very honored to be talking to you. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Azalinas and how did it start? You have a really amazing journey behind it.
Um, so I come from generational street vendors back home, and all I know is street food. So when I moved to San Francisco about 18 years ago, I was trying to figure out, like what path I would like to take. So at that time, there was not many Malaysian food or street food that very specific. When you when you go to all this Malaysian food, the menu are very mainstream. Basically, they're all the same. So going into a restaurant, you already know what you're getting because they're all the same and the flavor profile are the same. And just thinking back, and I was like thinking to myself, it's just very interesting. I can't find the food that I grew up eating because, which is kind of odd. For generation, we've been selling food on the street, and we're so known of these dishes that we sell on the street. So that's how I wanted to get into it, and there was other personal things that was happening, so they all kind of worked together, and here we are. And what I make is called mama food. I come from a community called mama back home in Malaysia. It says in our birth certificate as soon as we are born. Basically, I look Indian, but I do not make Indian food. I always tell people candidly, like, if you want to know about mama cuisine, just think of us like we kind of steal all the major ethnicities' cuisine and made it into our own, because each of our dishes has this medley and integrations of all these flavors in one plate. So you think about soy sauce, and think about coconut milk, and think about loads and loads of spices in one dish, and it's just like bold and explosive. And that's how I introduced Malaysian food, and that's how we did it. We only focus on mama, and we only make dishes that you cannot get in other restaurants, other Malaysian restaurants around the United States.
Wow, yeah, I was on your website, and I'll share my screen too because you do have for more details like on like your entire journey here, how you get how you moved and you were homesick and everything. So let me go to your website. Let's see. Share. There we go. So here's your website. And I think I was on your about page where you have a few videos on how you moved, and then you found comfort in the food. And you overcame a lot of challenges. Speaking of which, what was it like working through the pandemic last year? Did you face any challenges?
Well, just like millions of other, we are local independent operator. That means is, with me, I can't speak for other businesses. With me, I self invest in my business. I don't have investors, and I am a minority. I'm a woman. So as much as we're very brave and have the courage, there's some intimidations, right? Like you you're in a race with all the other businesses. That with business like food, you need to have a lot of investment, because your profit margin are very slim, but you have to put so much into it to get in, to make some money, obviously. So right there and then, it's a challenge itself. So when pandemic hits, when you've been asked to shut down your operation, that was a very scary thing to do. When you not only have yourself, I have two young kids, and I have my employees, and what do we do? How are we going to get through this pandemic by shutting down our dining room. We do a lot of caterings. That's our bread and butter. That's how we pay our bills. And no one's going to the office. No one's throwing a parties. So we lost about 90% of our business, and we have to pivot very quickly to know what's the next step. And what was the most important thing for me is that how do I keep my staff, and how do we help them feel secure or have some kind of stability? If I'm worrying, imagine what they're going through, right? Like they have bills to pay, they have to eat, they have just about everything and anything just any normal person do. So yeah, it was very scary, and we have not come out of it. I have closed one restaurant because our lease was ending. It was perfect timing. It was downtown. No one's going to the office. And now we're in the middle of closing our second restaurant as we're opening up because we can't come into any agreement with our landlord. So, everyone's feeling the hurt, the pain. But yeah, I sum it up that I'm so traumatized. I feel like this whole the damaging that happened financially on our business, it's unrepairable, like it's quite scary. But on the positive side, I learned a lot. On my next chapter, I know exactly how to figure out and how to make sure to have some kind of way to run a business, knowing that if things hit the fan, like how do we do it, and how do we make sure that we don't kind of crumble. So that's all the things that's going to be in our new business plan or model going forward.
Yeah, definitely challenging times. Like you said, kind of traumatizing. But whatever, when you come out of this, you do come out stronger. Do you see any practices that you're doing now during shelter in place and the pandemic that would carry over after we return back to normalcy?
I think one of the things is like our business, because we're not savvy, maybe because I'm a little older or whatever it was, that we were not utilizing online platform, and our food is all word of mouth. That's kind of, we don't have a PR team, we don't do anything online, and people just talk about our food. And any marketing pieces you see out there or review, it's all because word of mouth. And that's kind of how we had survived all this time. And now with with pandemic, what we know is that we have another way, which is the online platform ways that we should have utilize it more, which we didn't, but now we know. So moving forward, that will be one of the things to add into our new business model, that utilizing the online platform and teaching classes online. Before we were just teaching classes face to face. So things like that, and how to sell products without have to be in front of it. So we making our sauces in a jar, we're selling teas in a pouches online. I mean, if you go to our website, you can buy some of our product. So those are kind of things that we have learned that we could do as a business, not only just have a restaurant. So yeah, and not only that, it tells stories about where I come from, what we do, and why our food is very different for people to try it.
Yeah, I'm on your online store where you have a variety of sauces, jams, and tea, and yeah, you do have really unique homemade products. You said you closed a couple stores, but you still have a storefront, right? Could we still go to you at a location?
Yes, we have built a commissary or facility when I first started, because my idea was always to have a hub where we can have quality control coming out from, and then we can take it to different locations of our restaurants or retail space. So we still have that. So everything that you see online, it comes from our facility, that we still have staff that making them, and we still have a whole our team still working with us. So and then that's how kind of we set up our restaurant too. Most of the restaurants here in San Francisco is very expensive if you have 2,000 square foot of space. So we kind of kept our restaurant less than that. So that means our kitchen at the restaurants are very small. So a lot of these sauces that take days or broth that take days to make, they all come out from our facility. People still can go and visit us. We used to have about 5,000 square foot space of it doing hydroponics. So, like every single herbs and vegetables that we use in our restaurants come within our facilities. We kind of shut that operation down in pandemics because, it's large and there was a lot of waste. So we shut it down, and hopefully we can, once everything's open back up, we can start regrowing things. We were selling it to our chef partners and chef friends and all the stuff. So, but yeah, so we were doing a whole bunch of different things at that time, not only running a restaurant. So yeah, and then we were planning to open 3 additional space in 2020 that now we kind of freeze them just because we don't want to use up all of our resources and not knowing what's the revenue going to look like. But now that we are freeing up ourselves a bit more, we're going to reassess our business, and we're going to probably start opening up those 3 additional space very soon.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of stuff to shift.
Yeah.
At one go. But it looks so. Like on your website, I still see. I guess like we still have a takeout button, and is this something that people can also use to place an order?
Yeah. So this is the last week at Mahila, our restaurant in Noi Valley. So Saturday will be our last day here, and then we're gonna take a break. We're going to sleep and rest up and restart all over again in April. But for now, this is our last week here.
You do have some big plans coming up, and a book too, right? Coming up.
Yes. I back in 2017. I went. Condé Nast had basically asked Francis Lam, a very well-known food writer, to write about Azalinas and the Mamak culture, and he had came with us to Malaysia to write about it. And he was a bit taken that Malaysia is a multicultural country, but there's not even a single Mamak recipe book or history of it. If you Google Mama, all you see is food. You don't see the history. You don't really know about us except for a picture of us making noodles on the street. So he turned around and he looked at me. He's like, "You need to write the book." So the project took a while because I was busy trying to get things going here. It's not easy to it's not easy to become the operator and also work shifts all day long. So my days are very long. I work between 18 to 20 hours a day, and it's hard to kind of sit down and think about, oh, here I am, I'm going to write a book, so it's not that simple. But we signed on with Random House to write the very first Mamak book, I think, in the history of Mamak cuisine. So it's very specific. We're going to talk about history of the Mamak and how we come about and what we do and how long have we been in Malaysia and all those great stuff. Yeah. And then my editor, Fanny, I shouldn't say funny, but Francis has become my editor of the book because he works, he has his own show on Splendid Table. So everything kind of weaving together. It's kind of fun. So our goal is to get it done last year, but with the pandemic, it was how hectic and stressful it was. We push it forward. So the book should be hitting the shelf the beginning of 2022.
Well, it's coming up, and that is exciting. The food looks amazing, and you do also have, I think, recipes here. But let's see, my internet's a bit slow. But yeah, I mean, you have recipes over here, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the book will have it's going to be a lot more detailed and thorough.
Yeah. I mean, the book's gonna have about 80 different recipes.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun, just because we were talking about it, and when I cook the food, when people look at ethnic food, I should say, I don't like to call them ethnic food, but people always talk about ethnic food. When you think about food, like where I come from and what we do, even though it's street food, but there's so much complexity goes into it. It's just not just tossing. You might look easy from the naked eyes, but the complexity, it's quite deep and very thoughtful, so I'm very excited to share that with people around the world.
We're looking forward to that for sure. You also do classes and events still, or is that also on hold?
That's on hold for now. We used to do classes 101, but now I can actually do it online. So during this break, we're going to learn about how can we teach the mama cuisine, the history behind it, and utilizing those sauces that we sell. I think that would be a kind of fun segment to add into our business, because I like to just sit for hours just watching people talking and adding things in, because I don't know, it's very soothing for me. So we want to incorporate that into Azalinas, and we'll see how that all goes. Because during pandemic, we have done several like a cooking segments for different corporations when they have like conferences that people doing it from home. They gather all their staff from around the world. So we were the fun element that we show people how to make a salad, so that we gonna know a thing or two how to do that. So we will do that and add that to our Azalinas brand.
That's that will be I think that will be very handy. And like you said, if for not just in person but digital, like digital content for us to access.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, we were not even thinking about it. Now pandemic had taught us like that's another platform or ways for us to spread the word and tell our story.
So now not only are you a cook and your own, I think you're your own accountant. You said you do your own paperwork after you do dishes, and you're writing a book, and now you're going into video production.
Right. So yeah, it's like a one-man show. A person, like.
What else are you gonna do next?
Oh my gosh.
You're a gardener too, because you had aquaponics, right?
Yes, and I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm someone's daughter, I'm someone's friend. And, oh my gosh, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, this is, in conjunction of Women's International Day, the thing that women do to move and shake, it's amazing. Like really, just like giving birth to a human, that's itself. We should all get a Pulitzer Prize or Nobel Prize or some kind of title for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wish I had the amount of energy that you do to do all that. I wouldn't know, I don't know where you start, to be honest.
I think a lot of the time when people ask me what's the inspiration and what's the drive, I don't. It's not as much of a drive, and it's more about. I think I have a story to tell. Like, we have lived in Malaysia for many generations, and not knowing the history of our people, it's kind of, I don't know how to put it. It doesn't make me sad, but I wonder why. Like that I can go on, and I think I can make assumptions, but we don't want to go there because it becomes very political. But anyhow, I so want to see my father's stories known. He sell one type of dish for like for 50 years and die as a street vendor. And here the whole island, when he died, when he passed away, people from all corners of the island came and said goodbye to him. And that's for me what he have done. He has impacted someone's life with just one dish. And that's very powerful. And I think food can bring everyone's together. It doesn't matter where you come from. And that's the force behind it. And I think that's the story. All the different foods out there has a story to tell. And like, it depends on how strong your convictions are. Like, how do you want to stay on it and get through this and continue telling the story? Like, you gotta have a stamina for it, I suppose. There's more downs than up. Nothing sexy about making food for living.
Well, but you do make sexy food.
Well, I think I do, but I think I make a very humble food. Like, I don't know. Whenever I make my food and I take a bite of it, the first thing that goes into my head was like, I was raised by my grandmother, and she has 7 other children that she was raised the same time too. She was a single mother. She had all this coconut rice on her head and goes from village to village. It just takes me to that memory, and I'm thinking to myself, like, holy shit, this one person did all this thing, and how the fuck did she did that? Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Oh, it's all good. All good.
But this is back in the day, so that's itself an inspiring role model to have. Like, as a woman, you basically can do whatever you want to do, and then you just have to know to just keep going, like, get up and go, and just be grateful. I think I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be able to introduce Mama Food in this platform in San Francisco. Like, none of my family members have left my little island. They're all still there, and I get to do this outside of everyone's comfort zone. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Well, that's, that is a very inspiring message, and a good, kind of goal to work towards. It's just to bring family and to bring people together. And I think with your kind of energy, like, and of course you can tell you're very passionate about this, like, you're going to come out of this like even bigger. But yeah, no, thank you so much. You gotta let us know when your book's out. We'll make an announcement. And anything new coming up, if you're reopening a certain location again, we'll definitely make that announcement too to everyone.
Yes. Our next spot is supposed to be a kopitiam. My father's best friend is a Chinese man that have a coffee shop. So I am my father's sidekick. We used to sell lottery tickets at all these Asian coffee shops. So the idea is to open the first Malaysian coffee shop in San Francisco, and we still have that plan moving forward. So I'm very excited. It's gonna get called Uncle Soke, and that's my father's good friend. His name is Soke. I used to call him Uncle Soke. So it's a tribute to him because he's such a badass, and growing up, I was terrified of him because he has no front teeth. But now I think about him, I'm like, oh my God, he's like such a badass, you know? So yeah.
That's funny. No, that's really cool. Malaysian coffee is really good. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, so let us know when that comes up.
Yeah.
Definitely, like that's like with sweetened condensed milk, right? Or evaporated milk. I know they use like a canned milk of some
Yeah,
sort.
so we use both milk, evaporated and condensed, and we have another coffee that we put butter or margarines on that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when you drink them, you know, you have this fat like sticking on your lips, and you're eating noodles at the same time. I think that's heaven. Calorie wise, it might not be a good idea, but
Well,
yeah.
if you're on a keto diet, maybe just omit the condensed milk, right, and just go with the butter.
Right, right. I mean, like all this, the older generation in Malaysia, they don't use milk. It's always black straight, but they use butter on that.
Yeah.
And then my uncle Soke, what he would does is that he would have black coffee and he will have a stick of fresh sugar cane, and then he would keep them in there. So it kind of infused the coffee, and I don't know, it's very cool, and nobody has done that here, and no one knows about that yet. So we want to kind of introduce people to something new, you know.
That's
So that's
true.
always the idea.
There is nothing like that there. I'm kind of wondering why now, but you better do it. You better be the first to get that.
Well, I want to do justice to these people that has been, you know, that introduced this, that's doing it for generation. I mean, neither my father or Uncle Soke is still alive, but you know, if I want to do it, I better fucking do it right, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea behind it.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with coffee, and Malaysian coffee's good. I've had it before. It's amazing. So yeah, you can't get that out here, so we're definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Azalina, for your time and everything. And yeah, like I said, any new updates, announcements, let us know. You know, we'll be happy to let everyone else know. Um, and we look forward to having some of your product on our campus and maybe some online classes too at some point.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully by that time I have some videos to show how to use those products. That would be fun.
Yeah, start a
yeah.
YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah,
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited and I'm thrilled and I'm very grateful to be able to talk to you. And thank you again for listening to what Azalinas all about.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, no, like we really appreciate your time. And yeah, thank you everyone else for joining us in this interview, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.